This is the part of the night where we transition to an interview with our wonderful special guest. And this week we have none other than the wonderful Caroline Miller with us, who's also on Team Folkwise, helps with sleuthing, helps with all kinds of stuff behind the scenes. And we realized we didn't give Caroline a good chance to introduce herself because we were so caught up in playing our little raccoon trash panda game. So Caroline, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself while I pull you up on screen here with Dom for the interview.
All right. Hi, I'm Caroline. I am a PhD candidate at Indiana University in folklore. I forget that there are other things that people do sometimes. Yeah, so my dissertation is mainly focused on trying to highlight the diversity that exists in the Irish traveler community, which is, for anyone who's not familiar, a indigenous, traditionally nomadic group in Ireland that has experienced a lot of marginalization in the past. And I look at the ways that different women use different things in their traditional cultural toolboxes and how the choices they make about using those traditional assets highlights the diversity that exists within the community. And I also am really interested in Southern foodways and drinkways. I've done some work in the past looking at the traditionalization of craft moonshine. I'm also currently pet sitting for Kurt Bear, who is another amazing folklorist. So you might
come on the show.
Oh, has he? Okay.
No, you should.
This is about the third time I've said that on.
We said he should come on the show.
Kurt.
Yeah.
Kurt. Oh, you said. Oh. Yeah. So I'm pet sitting for him, so you might hear his amazing spare parts dog Spud in the background.
Spare parts.
Yeah, he looks like he's made from spare dog parts, and he's the cutest.
Wait, what? I hope we get to see more of this little Spud guy.
He's the best.
Spud will be around. Yeah. You want to get right into your interview then, Caroline?
Sure.
All right, Caroline. I'm very honored and happy to be interviewing you today. You're one of my favorite folklorists. You're also a sleuth, and this is my opportunity to thank the intrepid and Daisy says godlike Folkwise interview sleuths. That sounds like we're just praising the guests, but all right, I'll allow it. Hey, thank you, and you know how this works, Caroline. If there's a question you like, you have to thank the sleuths.
All right, I will.
So let's get into this first question. So, Caroline, many people assume that when someone says storytelling, it means a single narrator. And while that's a very recognizable way of telling a story, it's not always how it works. What are some aspects of storytelling that only emerge when multiple people are telling a story together?
I think that really depends what kind of storytelling we're talking about. The kinds of things that I deal with most are personal experience narratives. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how much y'all have talked about those on the show before, but basically those are just the stories people tell about their own experiences. And generally kind of the shorter versions rather than the difference between like an oral history, which might be something that's compiled out of a lot of personal experience narratives. But so I'm really interested. I've always been really interested in how different you can get the same story when you're telling like, okay, my friend Susan had this thing happen to her and is telling her about her experience of it. But then if you have Susan and her friend Ashley, who was there at the same time, the story kind of takes on a life of its own when you have both people giving both of their perspectives and the way that they remember it, which usually has elements of what may have actually happened and how also their memory has changed the story in their mind over time and over each retelling. So I think that's a really interesting part of kind of a communal storytelling, even though it's just about quote unquote one person's narrative. And then that also gets into kind of this idea of like who actually owns a particular experience.
Mm.
'Cause, yeah.
Oh, good. Can you say more about who owns a particular experience? That sounds interesting.
So it's I believe Amy Schumann and other people's stories talks about kind of like who has the right to narrate a particular experience. And that, you know, like if you think about, okay, you're at the grocery store and you run into somebody's cart with your cart and apologize profusely, and they still seem kind of like rude and ticked off about it. So that's your story, and you narrate that event one way. The person that you ran into has an entirely different experience based on their identity and their collected experiences of living the life they have up to that point. That's going to change how they see that experience. And so, you know, we think of our life experiences and those personal narratives as being ours without taking into the full context of who else has a right to tell those experiences.
Yeah. I've never conceptualized it that way. That's really interesting. Did any of this come up, Caroline, when you were working on your very interesting masters?
Oh God, that was so long ago.
You're the one with the CV.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so my masters, I did my masters at UNC Chapel Hill. And I looked at the way that social services caseworkers use narrative in the workplace to kind of deal with the secondhand trauma that comes with their job.
Yeah.
Both in dealing and also dealing with their own trauma of being in this kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't malign position. By that I mean you've got, at least from the way a lot of them talked about it, the people that they're trying to help that see them as this kind of like unfeeling bureaucrat, and then people maybe in the community, particularly in North Carolina, in Graham County, so southern, not quite rural, but definitely not a big city, that see them as kind of these enablers. So I looked at the way that they tell their stories and also tell stories to each other, and in a way that mitigates kind of the stress of the job and fosters camaraderie, and helps them to kind of cope with how the role that their job plays in the formation of their own identity.
Yeah. It sounds to me that, I mean, did you like cite Amy Schumann's like the book you mentioned just earlier, like in your masters at all? Because it sounds like that's just like that carries over quite nicely.
Oh yeah. I definitely, I quoted her extensively. Yeah, that was a great book.
That's awesome.
It was super helpful in me trying to get my head around that stuff.
Okay, so I'm gonna get a little for this follow up. I'm gonna get a little bit kind of creative, but how do all of these tenets of collective storytelling apply for tabletop RPGs?
I don't know, man. I just kind of do them for fun. I mean, like, I'm sure there's something smart I could say here, but like, I try to think about my, like, when I'm doing like RPGs and stuff, I'm generally thinking about my job and academics as little as possible. Because like I love what I do, but also, you know, like you have to have a kind of outlet.
Yeah.
So for me, RPGs are more escapism, which I mean, I guess like can definitely apply to collective storytelling when when you're thinking more in terms of like other genres and but yeah, I don't know.
That's fair. Yeah, you gotta have something. I just think it's maybe fitting. I wouldn't say ironic, maybe just fitting that like you're like, oh, I gotta try to keep my favorite hobby away from my academic interests. But I don't know. To the untrained eye, it looks like you picked a hobby that relates.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a whole bunch about like the choice. I'm sure about the choices people make in terms of like what kind of RPG characters they're gonna like, what kind of character alignment they're gonna do, and how they play that versus like how they how that interacts with their own identity and kind of, and again with the escapism, like I know a lot of people that might be like super quiet in kind of real life that end up trying to play the bard, and sometimes that goes really well and sometimes it doesn't. So yeah. But yeah, no, you're probably right, there's a lot there. I just haven't really put a lot of deep thought into it as of yet.
Well, Caroline, bad news, because we're about to ask you to put a little more deep thought into it with this next one. Can you tell us about your half-elf druid you play in D&D, and if any of the details of your character are based on your experience as a folklorist?
Okay. So my half-elf druid that I'm currently playing, I haven't been playing her that long. Her name is Hazel Burrows.
Ooh.
I
love that name.
Yeah, she's like, I think I said she was like 25 or no, like 23, something like that. Grew up with her human mom in a druid village because her human mom, her dad is like elvish royalty of some sort, was not allowed to be with her human mom, so her human mom had to like flee with her so they wouldn't be killed. So she's been like hid in the forest among druids her whole life, and is finally like venturing out to try to get in touch with her kind of elvish side and figure out more about her dad and all that. So that's kind of the general backstory. In terms of how it relates to folklore, so I decided I wanted to do a druid character just because I was really interested in learning a little bit more about like herbalism and stuff, and trying to work that into the character, which was a super cool idea and was super ambitious. And guess what? I'm dissertating, so that hasn't happened. Put in the work to actually learn about herbalism in like a realm that I don't live in. Like, well, really in the realm that I do live in, but let alone the realm I don't live in.
Yeah.
So it was, yeah, so I guess that was like one connection. And I got really interested in kind of the herbalism and cures stuff from my research, my fieldwork with travelers. And there were a few traveler women I talked to that just had like so much information about different traditional cures based on local plant life and that kind of thing. And it was just really cool talking to them about that.
I think this is a good enough, like a good as time as any to bring up your fieldwork with Irish Traveler Women then. You've already talked a little bit about who the Travelers are, but you mentioned something about what tools they have in their toolbox. Can you speak a little more about exactly what that means and how that applies to your research?
Yeah, so I'm thinking in terms of kind of like, okay, if we all have things that we know how to do,
Mhm.
that we get from our culture. Um, and a lot of the ways that we come across those things are because we understand them as being part of a tradition, something that we were taught
Yeah.
by somebody else. Um, and we learn how to use those traditions or cultural expectations, skills, anything like that that's passed down in order to make our lives richer or better or more enjoyable. And that sometimes means adapting those things, those tools that we kind of have. And sometimes it means using them in kind of subversive ways, ways that they weren't, you know, maybe the person that taught us about that thing or how the way that it's usually used would kind of frown on. Sometimes we yeah, I said so you modify them. Also, it's worth considering like, okay, you're constantly making choices about what traditions and what kind of cultural markers that you're performing or displaying or using and which ones you're not. So I'm also really interested in what choices do these women make about the traditions and cultural practices that they want to use or display at a given moment, according to who the audience is and kind of what the aim is, and what those motivations are and what they say about their connection to their own identities and how they want to be perceived by others.
I'm fascinated by that notion you have of like subversion. Are you able to explain uh how that comes in maybe like with identity?
Sure. So I think there's one of the ways that this comes up. I've seen this come up in my field work is under like, you know, settled people. So which is what most people call like the mainstream Irish population, people
Hmm.
that are not Irish travelers. Um, they have certain expectations of Irish travelers because of a lot of yeah, there you go.
There he is.
Dog
There
time!
he is.
Dog time! Bits for dog.
Bud's here.
I'm gonna mute for a second.
Deathlorus, there's no exclamation point spud command. What are you doing?
Manifesting, obviously!
Okay. Just doing something in chat until I make it happen like Rochu.
All right. I think you stopped for now. So
Hey, Caroline's back.
yay. So yeah, there's certain expectations because of a lot of like different stereotypes and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of taking those and turning them on their head. So one way that I don't know, maybe you could think about this would be I have a good friend, Owen de Bardoon, who has taken some of the children, the kind of like traditional traveler tales and made it into a like a it's not really a children's book. But it's got art from another traveler woman who did some really amazing art. But it's, you know, taking people that the stereotype is like, well, travelers can't even read, and in completely kind of twisting that and putting it on his head, he's put a book together with English and Cant or Gammon, which is the traveler's language, kind of interspersed within that. So that kind of twisting that, I think that makes it that much more powerful. And then also just people that maybe, like, I kind of struggling to come up with an example right now, but there's definitely traveler women that they're traditionally, they might have certain cultural expectations of them and their role as women. Travelers are typically very highly patriarchal, and so they might have expectations of them as women, and then kind of finding new ways to flip that to get where they need to be in kind of the society that they're living in. If that makes sense.
No, it does. Fascinating, Caroline. Dang, you're doing really cool work. Daisy, you don't want to let this question go, I assume, without me asking about the sense of place, correct?
Yes. Please.
Yeah. So how does like how do you get like a folklorist's idea of sense of place out of working with nomadic people like travelers?
Yeah. So travelers, I think when I first started, I've been doing stuff and thinking about stuff dealing with travelers since I was like 19. So like 2009. So it's been a minute. And then that I think I had this idea that like sense of place was somehow not going to be as important because they're nomadic and all that. And I think what I've kind of found with most of the people that I've worked with is that's actually the opposite. But I think a lot of the people that I've worked with would and agree. And again, this is just the people I've worked with. I'm not trying to speak for like an entire group of people.
Of course.
I think they would agree that it space may not be at like it's about kind of who is in a certain place. Family is huge for travelers, so for them making a place is more important than a certain space. So like making being able to be near family and carry out kind of long-standing traditions is huge, and that's one thing that Irish government, among other governments, has done a really good job of making it essentially illegal for them to do anything approaching their traditional practices. So that's anything from like having horses to even just living near extended family members. So in that way, space and place are really important because making a home requires being around family, but you also have, these are huge extended families. So you also need the space to be able to accommodate that. So yeah, but also the idea of having freedom of movement as being so important to like just the functioning of that society, being able to resolve conflict by moving if necessary, and that's something that the government's kind of taken away. Yeah, I don't know if that answered your question.
Absolutely does. Yeah. Because like what do space and place look like where you've got so many people and horses that you have to accommodate? No, yeah. You knocked out of the park, Caroline.
I totally that it makes so much sense too, especially when you're fighting against a like very stationary view of the world, or view of, I don't know, like the West colonizers say the like place is stationary and we do certain things in certain places, and so like it's interesting to like see a community both be affected by that and like work through how do you maintain like your cultural practices or your sense of place that is so radically different from that is being enforced upon you. Yeah, damn,
Caroline, I got one more kind of space and workplace adjacent question, and that is, what is a campscape?
Oh Lord.
Thank you, Slits.
Okay. Yeah. So, that I'm pretty sure is just a term that the person who created my job made up. But I
love that.
We love to see it.
That's folklore. That's folklore right there.
That's folklore.
Yeah. So, the summer after college, I worked at URJ Camp Coleman, which is a Reform Judaism summer camp. My friend had worked there for years, and I'm not Jewish, didn't grow up Jewish or anything, so like I had no idea what I was getting into. But it was really cool. But I got, essentially my job was like teaching kids about gardening and sustainability. I had no gardening experience except for growing up riding horses and like being around farms a lot in that way. But I did that.
I love that.
And,
that's so good.
but the really cool part, so this was obviously like the summer before I went to sorry, Spud is like driving me crazy. So this is the summer before I went into my master's at UNC Chapel Hill. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna like try to figure out ways to like fit folklore into this. So I tried to teach the kids about some of the cultural stuff around like why certain plants are planted like this and what the symbolism of different plants was in different cultures. And yeah, I mean, it was kind of whatever I wanted it to be, I guess. We also made a ton of soap and a ton of, which trust me, the kids definitely needed after a month of camp.
Yeah.
And then we also made a lot of like peppermint and lemon balm tea from like stuff out of the garden.
That is awesome.
Caroline, you know who this reminds me of?
What?
Your half-elf druid Hazel.
Oh my god!
Okay, just saying.
Caroline, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you didn't realize we were about to go to like, I don't know, some psychoanalysis, like archetypical. Everything is full circle, and it's showing up in all the different areas of your life that you spend.
That's fine. I'm here for it.
Do you have anything to add, Daisy?
No.
You want to head into these funsy questions then?
Hell yeah.
All right.
I say no specifically because I know the funsy questions are coming.
Yes.
Spud sounds great.
Caroline,
Spud.
these first three funsy questions are all going to be about different beverages.
Goodness.
Okay, first, and this is, I guess, hi, Spud. Oh, little spare part dog. Caroline and Spud, I guess. First question, and this is really just an extended promo for the Patreon at this point. What was the Great Wine Lake of 2022?
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, this is definitely a reason to support us on Patreon because you will get
there you go.
The whole experience of the hype that led up to it and the really disappointing me having to come to terms with the wine lake. So I have decided that I really enjoy hosting people and like having people over at the house, like game nights and stuff.
Wow,
we
what
did a lot of those in Indiana.
Yeah. What a folklorist.
Yeah. It's just what I do. And also like I'm from the South and my mom has like impressed upon me how important it is to be a good and generous host. Which means I go through a lot of wine. Wine is expensive now that I no longer work at a winery and get that discount.
Oh, so good.
So I've decided to start making my own wine. So I did. And I got a lot of a few supplies, including a big glass carboy, which is essentially, for those that don't know, like a big glass jug with like, but it's thick glass.
Yeah.
And so Jim and I, Jim came over, Jim Seaver, who you may...
Diamond Jim Seaver.
Yes. He came over and filmed me putting this wine together, which I was like, you know what, I'm not going to read the directions because I want it to be good content for the Patreon channel. So I just went fly by the seat of my pants trying to make this.
Sure, that's
Everything was fine. fine-ish, and then I racked everything. So you make it first fermentation in kind of a bucket. And I put it into the carboy from the bucket when it was time to rack it. And then the next day I noticed it looked like a little bit of wine was like leaking, or I thought maybe I had just spilled some around it and didn't notice it. But it's like, okay, well, I need to probably get a new carboy if it's leaking, but I need to put a towel under it until I can get to the store to get another carboy. So I had my partner Sam, who should be on here in the audience as food. He better be here.
Sam, where are you? Leave us a sign.
I'm just kidding. So I got him to lift it up because it's really thick glass, and it was 23 liters of wine. So like a lot of wine.
Yeah.
And he went to lift it up, and the carboy, the bottom just fell. It just cracked, and the bottom just fell off.
Oh.
And we had we had exactly 23 liters of wine in our like dining area, kind of, or as it said on the thing for the RPG, the eat-in area.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
That's exactly what you have. Yeah.
That, and it was a nice Rojo, a Spanish red wine.
It was oaked too, right?
Oh, it was oaked, yes. So luckily fermentation had already happened. So it wasn't sticky because the yeast had done a good job eating up all the sugar.
Yeah.
But it was dark red, and now all of our towels are kind of this cool pinkish color, so that we will never be able to forget the great wine lake of 2022.
Rip the Rojo.
Yeah, but I'm working on a Malbec right now.
Hell yeah, that's what's up. And
ready, I think, by the end of March.
Oh, good. And I see people, or I guess that's Daisy posting this in the chat. But if you want to see that video, including like Jim cracking jokes at Caroline from behind the camera, it's on our Patreon. Caroline, I'm gonna go from a nice pink color to a nice green color, and because I think this one really fascinated Daisy and Caitlin while we were talking about it, go off about green chartreuse and why the last call is your favorite cocktail.
Yes, okay. Please. Yes.
I mean, we all were like, go off about it. Like, it just is.
We all were like, Caroline has very fancy and expensive taste.
I really do. Only when it comes to booze, though. So I discovered, like, the first time I had Last Word, I was in.
Oh, Last Word. My bad.
Huh?
Well, Last Word. I said the wrong thing earlier.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think that's what you're talking about, though, right?
It is. The one with chartreuse.
Yeah. So the first time I had that was in this cocktail bar in Charleston. And I didn't really know what I want this is a place that's like their mixologists are pretty well known. So
cool.
I just told the guy I wanted something like herbal and not sweet, like not super sweet. And that's what he came up with. And I was just kind of, this is perfect. But turns out it's a Prohibition era cocktail, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. It is one way to make it is equal parts green chartreuse, preferably. I guess you could do it with yellow. Gin, lime juice, and maraschino liqueur. I got everything. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So, but yeah, I like mine a little on the less citrusy side, so I usually don't do quite so much lime juice. Yeah, I just like it.
You explained sufficiently. I'm sold.
I know you're sold. I've made quite a few.
You've made a bunch for me. That's right. And okay, this last one is a drink question, but not a booze question.
Okay.
True or false? Well, the answer is true. Cheerwine is the best soft drink in the U.S. Explain.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being 100% honest, I don't even know that I'm always like that's the soft drink I want, but it is the best.
Yeah. You can't
Yeah,
have the best every week. It'll lose its appeal.
Yeah. It's super sweet. So
Oh, yeah.
it is a cherry flavored soda made in North Carolina. So that right there is basically your answer. Yeah, it's just real good.
It
Found some
tastes
crushed
like
ice.
cherry candy, not like, like a cherry Coke tastes like Coke, also cherries. And this tastes
Oh,
like,
no. Yeah. This is just cherry.
it tastes like, what am I thinking about it? Like rock candy? Is that what that stuff is called? It tastes like if you could drink rock candy. That's all. That's the only way I can describe it.
I mean, so I think I didn't realize until I moved to Indiana that it was considered like a cherry soda, because I just never, it's like, no, it's just cheer wine. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Like,
it's what cheer wine tastes like. Yeah.
Cheer wine tastes like cheer wine. It doesn't, there's no like, like what do you mean? What kind of soda is it? It's a cheer wine. So yeah, it wasn't until I moved out of North Carolina that like I realized that it fit into a smaller category.
Daisy, should we read this comment from chat just right now?
Well, I just commented rude, so. Rude.
I'll read it then.
Okay.
Surely you can't be, says, in the interest of causing drama, cheer wine is good, but indistinguishable from cherry Dr. Pepper.
That's just incorrect. Like you've clearly never had cheer wine like that.
In the interest of starting drama.
Yeah.
Me just being wrong.
Yeah.
They're not even close to the same color. Like it just doesn't even
Silliness.
That's true. That's true.
Goodness.
Cheer wine is a very distinct shade.
Yeah.
And taste. Like I can't think of anything that tastes like it.
Yeah, I can't think of another drink that tastes like it. Yeah. Chat is popping off about their favorite regional red drinks, and
the one Canadian who's like
confused.
the one Canadian who's very upset about all this.
Fago Red Pop, hell yeah, I love that. Good Great Lakes boy over here. Caroline, can you tell the story about how you received fine china from your former teacher?
Yeah. So I was in college, and I went to college at Elon University, so it was like 2 hours away from my parents or so, 2.5 hours.
Go Phoenix?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait. Can I tell my favorite Elon fact?
Yeah.
Didn't Elon used to be the Fighting Christians?
They did. When my great aunt went there, they were the Fighting Christians.
That's incredible. Anyway, so you were at the former home of the Fighting Christians.
Yes.
America
and yeah, I went home pretty often, and I like went home one weekend, and she was just like, "Oh, here, like, do you remember Miss Plyler?" So Miss Caroline Plyler was my kindergarten teacher, and she was like, "Yeah, I saw her. I don't know if it was like at a retirement party or what."
Yeah.
But she just decided, because my mom was a secretary at my elementary school, so like they knew each other, and she just told my mom that she wanted me to have her whole china set, and it's like boxes and boxes of this really pretty pattern, which if I was at my house I would show y'all, but
I thought you were going to be at your house when we wrote this question. Yep.
And I have it in like this cabinet with lights, and I love it a lot.
We'll post it on the Insta story later.
Yeah, that's like
cool.
Yeah.
This is what I, as the raccoon named Torchkey, was attempting to steal when we went into the 1980s home.
I figured. Yeah, I figured you were trying to steal Caroline's china.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like, it's really cool. It's really special. Because I really loved that teacher, but it was just so random that she thought, like, she has kids and stuff. She just thought I would like it. And I mean, I hadn't spoken to her probably since I was in elementary school, but she was correct. I do love it. I drink my tea out of it every morning. So
That's such a cool like time to be remembered. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I love
Yeah.
to be remembered just in time to get a gift. And like
yeah,
a beautiful
yeah,
like
it's pretty cool. And I
sentimental
mean,
gift.
she's unfortunately she's passed now, but so that just makes it even that much more special.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And the last funsy question, can you give us like a brief biography of Bear the cat who is always known a folklorist?
Yeah.
I know you've got a
so-
spud with you, not a bear right now, but people might remember Bear from Pets of Folkwise.
I also there's a mango around here somewhere. I think
Mango!
Oh. There goes Spud.
Bye, Spud.
So hold on.
While she's muted, I will say that Mango, the cat, she is cat sitting because she's house sitting right now. Mango has one eye, and he lived at a Buddhist temple in Thailand where.
Oh my god! What? I did not know that.
Where our ethnomusicologist friend
It all makes sense now.
was on a Fulbright and staying next door, and one of the monks was like, "This is our cat Mango. Is Mango orange? Mango is black." Which temple? I don't remember. They were up north, fairy tellers. This was up north.
Yeah, actually, hey, fairy tellers, we have a person to hook you up with.
Actually, yeah.
We have a friend for you.
Yeah. Kurt, who Caroline is house sitting.
Yeah.
As she mentioned at the top of the stream. But he's up, not Chiang Mai, although he's been to Chiang Mai. That's not a command, Caitlin. It's not Chiang Mai, but I know he spent a lot of time in Chiang Mai. This was
Manifest.
the place that's known for like the instrument that's kind of like a xylophone. After SNL characters, how do you know it wasn't after professional Smash player Joseph Mango Marquez?
Yeah, how could you not? How could you not know that?
That's
Obviously.
the mango for our chat.
Yeah.
So you found us a mango.
4 minutes away.
Hi, Mango. I told a little bit about do you remember where Kurt and Cass used to live? Where they got Mango?
No. Like, I'd know it if I heard it. But
Yeah. It's not Chiang Mai, but it's also up north. I know this. Anyway.
they're best friends.
We're best friends.
Aww.
But tell us a little bit about Bear.
Yeah, so Bear came to own my home. When I first moved to Indiana, I lived with Chad Budabaugh, who is also a folklorist. He works up in Maryland now. But yeah, when he passed and got his PhD, and got the job up in Maryland, he didn't want to take Bear with him because Bear's an indoor-outdoor cat, and he was moving to Baltimore, so not really the best place for a cat that likes to go outside. So he had a brother named Buddy, but Buddy was like very much a senior cat.
I remember Buddy.
Yeah. He also peed on everything, which was not great.
He really did.
Yeah. But yeah, so I told him I couldn't take Buddy because at the time I definitely did not have any money to invest in like as much care as a senior cat needs. And I thought Bear was younger. I found out later when I took Bear to get his shots that he hadn't had them in a while, like since he was a kitten. And
Oh my god.
So it was
Chad.
Okay. So he actually is technically a senior cat. So like I'm gonna have to do all that extra stuff anyway. But Bear is worth it. He's the best. He's my bestie. Yeah. He's just the handsomest boy. He's a floofer. And I will definitely put pictures on the thing. Unless Sam's in the chat and can post a picture or something.
I don't see food in the chat. I know he was here at the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
It's Bear is, like you said, the biggest and fluffiest boy, and I'm very allergic to him, and it makes me so upset. But he was, and Caroline, you talked about having get-togethers at your house all the time. It's one of your favorite things, and you love serving people like drinks and such. And if anyone's around for the Smash tournament, a lot of those photos Kathleen and I showed are from Caroline's house. One of them is from Caroline's roof. That's a specific Eric picture, if you remember that. But Bear kind of became like the mascot at a certain point. He was just people playing video games and drinking, and the cat walks by and everything shuts down for people to just go, Bear! It was so sweet.
I mean, you mentioned being allergic to him. I'm allergic to him too. I just deal with it.
he's that pretty.
He's just worth it.
Yeah. I used to sing Pretty Boy Swag by Soulja Boy when you would come by.
He's the best.
It was back when that was a TikTok meme. Daisy.
Dom.
Oh, we've got a chat question, don't we?
Yeah.
Other than which temple, which I'll get back to you, fairy tellers. Dom, why did I know you were allergic to cats? Only long hairs.
Yeah. So
short hairs, I'm fine.
Yes, only long hairs.
What is this question from chat? I saw it earlier.
I did too. Why didn't I collect it like I usually do? Like I'm such a...
I found it. Yeah. Hey, Caroline, you talked about having your morning tea out of your china that you got from your old kindergarten teacher. What's your go-to tea?
Oh, that's the easiest question ever. It's berries.
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 Berries with a bunch of milk. Yep.
Hell yeah.
That's the best.
I think that's a good answer.
Nice.
Daisy, I think this last part is all you.
Yeah, I think so. So Caroline, you know about our show, and you know that we like to play a game with folks after their formal interview, right? And that game,
I've heard tell of that.
You've heard something about that? Okay, cool. Yeah, and do you also know that game may or may not typically be a tier list?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to share my screen with you, which just occurred to me. It might make your camera weird, so I'm going to fix that really quick. Caroline, have you ever made a tier list before?
Oh, true. That will make the camera weird.
Okay, folks, bear with me for just a moment.
Caroline, I've never made you make a tier list.
No. Y'all don't make me do techie things because I'm real bad at it.
Oh, that's true. All the times at Guts when we were debating like who the highest tier character in Smash, you were just making us tea and drinks. Okay.
Also, like, I would have nothing to base that on. Like, I would have no opinion on that.
Just who's the prettiest girl? That's S tier.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
There's a chat question really quick while we do this. Libby Tuck, hello Libby, hi.
Oh,
I see you there.
Ask that.
Wants to know what kind of cookies you like to have with your tea.
I'm not a big sweets person. So, like, and especially because, like, I normally have my tea in the morning, and I definitely am not having sweets in the morning. So, like, I don't know. Well, if I'm gonna have them, like, I used to really enjoy having chocolate digestives with it.
Oh, yes.
I don't think I've really eaten those very much since I got back from Ireland, like, the first time I went. Although Patricia Salwin once gave me a packet of digestives as an end of the semester gift, and it was, like, one of the most thoughtful gifts I've ever gotten. It was so sweet.
Aww.
Yeah. But
that's really sweet.
Yeah, she's the best.
Okay, so
yeah, I guess the chocolate digestives then.
So Caroline, I ask now that everything is set up. Have you ever made a tier list?
I have not.
Well, we have crafted and curated a Caroline's Legal Moonshine tier list for you to fill out.
What do you say? Oh no!
Yeah.
Well, because I feel like most of the, like, legal moonshines are like just syrup.
Good!
You know, chat loves a bottom-heavy tier.
I was gonna say, yeah, chat really loves that. For those who may be watching for the first time tonight, a tier list is something that we like to play with all the guests on our show. It's used to pretty much rank everyday objects. It started with ranking fighting game characters and things like that on Twitch, but it's become really popular for ranking parts of everyday life, not unlike legal moonshine. I guess. Parts of everyday life, you know? So we...
If you're doing it right, the illegal moonshine is part of your everyday life.
Yeah.
But officially, we at Folkwise have never done that.
Yes, we have not done that. So we made this tier list out of moonshine brands, and on a scale from S, which is superior, number 1, best thing you've ever had, all the way down to D, which is please toss it in the trash with the rest of the trash pandas for them. We are going to ask you to rank legal moonshine. So first on our list we have Bill Elliott's Moonshine.
Is there like a thing where I can see these things?
Did you click watch stream?
Oh.
That would help.
I wouldn't know. Sorry. Okay.
They're still kind of tiny, but I tried to give the best picture I could of the bottle/name.
Okay.
So the first one up is Bill Elliott's Moonshine.
I have no idea what that is, so we're just gonna slide that into D.
Hell yeah! I like the spirit.
All right. Next up is Buffalo Trace White Dog Mash #1.
Okay, I think I did have that when we went and did Kurt's bachelor
party. Yeah.
Right, that was like one of the last stops, so I don't really remember. And it was a while ago. Like it was like years ago. Okay, we're gonna put that.
Yeah, that was the first stop, wasn't it?
Yeah, if you say so. We're gonna put that in like an A.
Oh, okay. It was right in the middle. It was right in the middle. I'm remembering now.
I'm noticing that Surely You Can't Be says, shouldn't technically Mountain Dew be on this? No.
No.
No, it is not a corn whiskey. No.
Yeah, but.
Oh, yeah, Kurt, come on the show. Next up, we have Troy and Sons Platinum.
Oh, that's definitely S tier.
Oh, okay. Any reason why?
Yeah, so fun. So the distillery that I did the project on that I ended up writing a paper about. So the distillery that I worked with is called Bear Wallow Distillery, and it's woman owned, and the woman who runs it, named Susan. She's amazing, and she actually got her idea from a trip to the North Carolina mountains, just kind of right outside of Asheville, and they ended up going to Troy and Sons Distillery, which is also a woman-owned distillery. And they're right next door to a really good brewery as well, which definitely doesn't hurt. But yeah, anyway, they make really good stuff, and also just a really cool business.
Hell yeah! Up next. Don't forget those thoughts. Up next, we have George Dickel White Corn Whiskey. Now, this was a very big bottle, and it partially got cut off.
I'm gonna go ahead and, the preface, I will probably not have had most of these, including that one. I mean, regular Dickel's alright, I guess. We'll just slide that into a B tier.
Yeah, I mean, if you think regular's alright, that's probably safe.
You can leave them off the list if you've never had it, but I like people doing
you're just
what you're
deciding
doing. It's
gut
way more
instinct.
fun.
Yeah.
Alright, up next we've got Hudson, New York, Corn Whiskey.
Definitely never heard of that. I'm just going to stick it in the D.
Yeah.
Alright, above or below, you think, the other one here?
Bill Elliott.
Bill Elliott, yeah.
Below, just the fact that it's from New York.
I didn't think of that, but now that you say it.
Sorry, Libby Tuck, who was in the audience.
Alright, up next is one that you've probably seen at your local liquor store. Junior Johnson's Midnight Moon Moonshine. Comes in a jar.
Yeah, so I remember the first time I ever heard of like moonshine being sold in a store was, I think, my senior year in college, and my roommate got some of the apple one, and it was the most disgusting thing I've ever had in my life. So that's gonna be right on the bottom.
Okay, worse than the ones you've never had.
Yeah, because I have to at least give those the benefit of the doubt.
Without making this too complicated for you, Daisy, Caroline, is this a situation where we need to create an F tier?
Yeah, do I need to make an F tier for that?
I mean, no, because probably basically all of the like legal moonshines that are like flavored, especially ones that came out around a certain time, they're all like 30% alcohol, and it's just syrup. Like it's fine if you want to like mix it in a cocktail, but it's like it's moonshine and like branding only. Like it's not.
Like, why would you want to mix moonshine in a cocktail? That's really not the point.
Joel Chapman is in chat right now, and he says that shit is trash.
Cocktails. That's the whole reason we have cocktails.
Explain this.
Oh, explain. Tell me. This is an area of liquor that I do not understand.
Okay, so like this is not my area of expertise. Jen would probably be better at talking about this, but yeah, I mean, the whole reason that cocktails were invented were because during Prohibition, people were making, or at least maybe not invented, but the reason they became popular is because during Prohibition, people were making their own liquor, and it was not great. So we have cocktails because it was supposed to make the liquor palatable.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So no, actually, moonshine's great for cocktails. But yeah, most of the like really flavored stuff is just not good.
What they're doing is not a cocktail. What they're doing is just adding syrup.
They're just
Yeah, well, and they're also like making it so it's super low alcohol, so it's a liqueur essentially. Like it's not
right.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't branded as moonshine.
Right.
It's like that blues song, I asked for water and you gave me gasoline, but it's like I asked for moonshine, you gave me Frangelico.
Yeah, kinda, yeah.
I don't know where my...
that was
the Dom Green Brain moment of the day.
Yeah, I was going to say, what the heck? Did we just switch roles right now? What's going on?
Yeah, we have officially. You're hosting.
This is awesome.
But I mean, that's kind of like what I was talking about with like what I talk about in my moonshine work is like this kind of nothing that anyone's producing legally is necessarily moonshine. Like there's no real definition of moonshine, so there's a lot of room for people to play with it. Sometimes they play with it stupidly.
Yes. Death Loris asks if you have any thoughts on the romanticization of Appalachia via commercialization of legal moonshine.
You can't be asking questions in the tier list. What are you doing?
Oh, come on. It's a good question, though. I want to know the answer to... I want to know what Caroline thinks about this.
I definitely do. I don't know if we have that much time.
Okay. But yes, there's a correlation there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you just said it, right? Like, that's... that is the marketing strategy.
Yeah. That makes sense. Good question, Death Loris. You have thoughts? Yes. Folkwise says, unmute yourself, coward.
If she's just gonna chime in and chat, she might as well unmute herself. She's there.
Love it. Well, Caroline, I have another one that you probably have an equally spicy take about, and that is...
And this is the first one I've ever saw.
Hold on, I gotta interrupt you. Death Loris, I think that we just thought of some new Patreon content.
Oh, shit!
Together with the Moonshine talking about that.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's so true. That's so true.
Absolutely.
That's so true. Hey, everybody, just so you know, Patreon, $5 a month. Somebody just left.
Who dropped out?
We're back? Okay. No, it was
Caitlin. It's Caitlin's rural internet. It's Caitlin's rural internet. She's back.
Okay, we're back. I think we're good on the images on stream. Anyway, Oh my god, yeah. Hey, $5 a month, you get access to exclusive Folkwise content, which will eventually become available, but not for like a year.
Something like that.
So, something like that. So, please, subscribe. You can also subscribe for $1 a month, which is like nothing. You won't get to see our videos, but it will help us a lot. Anyway.
This next Moonshine is actually
Yeah.
that thing you were describing last time. This is the first one I ever had.
I
and,
think-
like, it just tastes like candy. It's weird.
So this is the same for me, except then I thought that the Midnight Moonshine was like the better version because I don't
Yeah.
because you can't get it in stores, so this is like the two that are everywhere.
So I'm actually
Old Smoky Tennessee
full disclosure,
Moonshine,
I'm thinking I might have gotten those two confused.
but like
They're very similar.
they're-
They're very
they're-
similar.
Pretty
Yeah,
similar.
but
We're
that
Coke and
one-
Pepsi.
that one now is definitely worse.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so bottom.
Look
Okay.
how long the D tier is getting.
Yeah, wow. This is very powerful energy. Up next I got Popcorn Sutton's Tennessee White Whiskey.
So that is one I haven't had. But I'm gonna give that the benefit of the doubt just because Popcorn Sutton has the whole history there. So we're gonna put that in B tier, but above the Dickel.
Okay. Oh, Death Laura suggests is Old Smoky going to get an F tier?
Oh my god, Caitlin, you're on
It's
the
so
ball.
funny.
You're just distracting us at this point.
If there was an F tier, it would definitely be an F tier.
Oh, Kentucky Folklife Program just did a thing with Popcorn Sutton. Cool.
Yeah, and apparently he's the goat.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Alright, up next we got Stillhouse Clear Corn Whiskey.
Yeah, I don't reckon I haven't heard
This
of that,
one is-
but you know what?
this
Just 'cause
one's
the
in
C
like
tier
a-
looks lovely.
C tier looks
Is
like
it flavored?
no, it is not flavored, but it is in a very cool kind of like gasoline can, like one of the old school like fire fuel cans.
Like the Tin Man?
Yeah, the Tin
Like,
Man can.
yeah.
I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, let's that'll just chill out and see.
That's cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Up next we've got Tim Smith's Climax Moonshine.
Yeah, again, have not had that one, but guess we'll sandwich that one in between popcorn and Dickel.
Okay,
Sounds good. Last one's the moment of truth.
This is the moment of truth. I think you know what's coming. Bear Wallow Distillery Moonshine.
Yes. I was about to say, let's get on there and be so upset.
Bear
Yeah, that's the best S tier.
Hey!
Yeah!
Hell yeah!
I like
Yeah.
this. I like this because we're going out on top with like a happy ending with the highest S tier last.
Yeah.
But also, look how big D tier is. It's the biggest one.
Yeah.
I think everyone's happy.
I think this is pretty good. This is pretty good. Yeah, so I guess
Bear Wallow, they're great.
wow, okay, so let me try to do this like Dom does every week.
Go for it.
On a scale of white whiskey so good that you'd write and publish a paper about it, all the way to the syrup that you wish you could forget and it haunts your dreams at night and every party you will ever attend in the future. This is the official Caroline's Legal Moonshine tier list. Thank you,
Nice.
Caroline, for this.
Well done, baby.
I tried my best there. Caroline, thank you so much for being on our show. Hey, friends. Y'all know what to do right now. It's time for ladders.
Oh, I think you do.
Time for GG. It's time for ladders. Caroline, you've been an absolutely wonderful guest on our show.
Quilts have had a meaning on many levels. making quilts helped me to get a sense of my own space, sense of finding my way, sense of really working my way out of the labyrinth.